welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be talking about 5 of my favorite eyeshadow palettes and then 3 that I regret purchasing. So let's just get right on into this. First up, I have the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette. It is $48 for 24 eyeshadows. I know the glitters are not technically eye safe, but I tend to take the risk. I do not put them in my waterline and I pat them on gently. My favorite rose are the Soothe, Aura, and Poet rose. The sequin shades are amazing. I love them for just everyday light glittery looks. And the glitters, they're pressed glitters. What more is there to say about this? So beautiful. I get actually a lot of use out of this. Not that you can really tell. There's a minor dent in the Aura glitter shade up top, and I just poked into the Poet one a little. But that is about it that you can see so far. I have a feeling this will be a favorite for quite a while, and I'll get a lot more use out of it in days to come. Next up, I have the Violet Boss Essentials eyeshadow palette, which is $29 for 10 eyeshadows. Very beautiful. I actually used it today on my eyes. I used the Dusty Rose shade down here along with the cream shade up top, and I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but it's great. The mattes blend very nicely, and the shimmer shades, I don't know why I couldn't think of the name, actually goes on very nicely as well. Apparently that one's still there. Whoops. But I like it. It's great. It's fun. I got it in one of my subscription boxes, so I did not purchase it on its own looking at it. But I've gotten actually a bit of use out of it since it came. I think I got it in a boxy charm. Not 100% sure. Next, I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry Palette. I'm in love with this little packaging, heads up. This glittery pink is beautiful. The inside, there is a visible dent in the shade Pearl. I don't know. Apparently I have a theme. It's sort of like the color Cream from the other palette, the Violet Boss one, but this one is a lot more kapow. And I've used a bunch of the mattes to help just make random looks to go with that shade especially. I have dipped into some of the other shades, but I'm not as much of a darker shimmer girl. So, Anastasia Sultry palette. The packaging it came with mimicked the, oh my goodness, glittery packaging on the palette. And my boyfriend's oldest loved it. She'd play with it. She'd pretend it was her own eyeshadow palette. Up until my boyfriend and I were like, all right, we should probably go through a room. So I decided to go through and we were trying to declutter some toys that they weren't playing with that we noticed. Well, she was hoarding a bit of trash to play with. And I'm like, okay, no more, no more. Next up, I have the Tarte Clay Play Volume 2 palette. It is $45 for 9 eyeshadows and 3 face shades. I'm gonna try and not blind you with this though. It is beautiful. It smells like chocolate. It's got a bunch of nice matte shades up top. And there's each little bit has its own little shimmer shade. And then we have a, hard to point and see what I'm doing. It's got highlighter shade there, blush, and a bronzer. So you can get a lot of use out of this palette. And I'm planning on doing a little tutorial look using this for as many things possible in one look. So stay tuned for that. Last but not least, out of my favorites pile is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry. I like the packaging. I like the cherries. I like how on the cover it goes from a light shade to a darker shade, which is mimicking the inside. So inside, have to cover the mirror up again with this one. It's got a whole bunch of pinkies and going into a little bit purple tones. So it starts off with the light shade to the dark. It's got a bunch of shades. So it's $49 for 12 shades. I don't know if I said that yet. It was scary at first. Just, come on, stay close, please. Apparently it doesn't like me opening it like the way I did. My bad. But it scared me. I was like, pink eyeshadow, I'm a little nervous, but I have stepped out of my comfort zone and actually learned pink looks are some of my favorites. So, great buy. And the brush that comes in this palette, I've gotten so much use out of. It's very nice, and it's a double-ended brush. Whew! Now on to the palettes that I am not a fan of. We're going to start with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Riviera palette, which arrived slightly broken. The shades Inheritance and Seaside up top were broken. I did my best to push them back in, but yeah, nope. The palette itself is permanently just messy. I've used a couple of other shades for some looks, but that's about it. And it's always been a creative look. I've never used this for an everyday look. I was very underwhelmed by this, and I regret purchasing it. As with the Sultry palette, this is $45 for 14 shadows. Just wish I had skipped that one. Next is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette, which is $49 for 21 shadows. It's just underwhelming. Lots of darker shades, which is not my favorite. I thought I would get a lot more use out of it than I have. Just not wowed at all. It's pretty, just not my thing. I like lighter colored looks, and I just dug my nail into one of the shadows. Oh, it's not a shade I like. Wipe it on my pants. Alright. Last but not least is the BH Cosmetic Take Me Back to Brazil palette, which is $20 for 35 pressed pigments. Just, I don't know. I was just underwhelmed. I found myself not really reaching for this. I use it occasionally for some of the more colorful looks I do, but again, just no. Don't really get use out of it. Thankfully, it was only $20, so not as much of a flop as the Riviera palette and the Born to Run, but yeah. So out of the price range, so the two Urban Decay palettes are both $49. Like, do not like. The next up price range is the Tati Beauty palette that is $48 for 24 shadows. So more shadows than both of the Born to Run palettes. Wow, Born to Run palettes, wow. Both the Urban Decay palettes, but $1 cheaper than each of them. So pick this up if you are interested. And both the Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to hold all three of these up. And the Tarte Clay Play Volume 2 palette. These are all $45. And actually, these have two more shades in these versus this one, but all $45. Do not pick up the Riviera palette if you don't use a lot of color. Then I have the Violet Voss, which is $29. Worth it, I think, if you're going to play around with some color and glitters. And the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil for $20. Just, if you do a lot of color, sure, go for it, but I don't recommend. But that is it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed watching. Please leave a thumbs up, comment, and I love you, and I hope you all have a great day. A little disclaimer is this video is not sponsored in any way. Yeah. I purchased all these palettes with my own money. And what else? Oh, as always, if you do not like these palettes and they worked for me, everyone is different, and vice versa. Everyone has different opinions and different wants from different products. And everyone's skin is different and takes to products differently. Thank you all.